If I were to get $1 every time one of my students from my School of Online Dating program made a post in our private Facebook group asking us how best to respond to a really attractive female profile, only for that profile to turn out to be fake, I'd make at least $2 a day. Now, you know what kind of difference that would make to my life? Zero. But I would be able to claim that I had the world's most reliable and yet world's tiniest consistent income stream. While the story that all Tinder profiles are fake or no women on Tinder really want to meet in real life is clearly bupkis, and that has already been proven so many times because so many men I know personally from all around the world are actually going on Tinder dates with these women, there is still a bit of an epidemic with fake or useless accounts appearing on Tinder quite regularly. Now, when I say quite regularly, I mean maybe for every 100 women's profiles I look at, maybe 9 or 10 of them are fakes somehow. So we're not talking about 90% of something, we're talking about 10%. It's still a problem. And a lot of guys are getting caught out by it and getting screwed over by it. So today I'm going to walk you through some of the red flags you should be looking at for what kinds of profiles you should be avoiding, what kinds of conversations are going to come up that you should be flagging and telling Tinder about, and also avoiding so that you don't end up feeling like a bit of a fool or worse, having your identity stolen. So keep watching, learn more. So why exactly should you be completely avoiding some of these profiles? 3 main reasons. Number 1 is it can just be a little bit psychologically frustrating when you match with women and you try to talk to them and they write back weird things and you know, all this kind of thing. It can be frustrating, but also a little bit belittling, embarrassing. I know a lot of guys get quite upset about it, and there's no reason to create that negativity in your life. Tinder can be difficult enough alone, let alone having to put up with that. The second reason is more important though. It's to do with your Tinder ranking. So Tinder looks at various features to work out how they should rank your profile, and the higher your profile's ranked, the more women are going to get to see your profile. It's really important. So if you're swiping right on profiles that are never going to swipe left on you, never going to swipe right on you back, then you are hurting your Tinder ranking. If you are starting conversations with female profiles that are never going to write back to you, that's another aspect that Tinder looks at for your ranking. And so if that happens a lot too, it's going to hurt your ranking. So doing these things hurt your ranking. The third reason is less common. It does happen. I've seen it happen, but it's less common, obviously, with a little bit of common sense. But be careful about getting your identity stolen. So a number of times these women will try to get information out of you and get enough information to start stealing identity. So there are identity theft farms out there. If you get women just trying to get, I don't know, like biodata out of you, be wary, report them to Tinder and move on. Don't get caught in that trap. So without any further ado, what should we be looking for? So I've got a list here on my phone, and rather than just make a whole bunch of job cuts, I'm going to read them from my phone. The first that you should be looking out for is if you see a woman's profile and they only have the Instagram account written below. This is kind of one of the most common things that you'll get. Now, sometimes, maybe 20% of the time, 15% of the time you see a profile like this, it'll be a legitimate profile and she's just lazy and puts her Instagram down there. Most of the time, it's a fake. And so if you see profiles like this, I always swipe left. Similarly, if I see a woman's profile and she has nothing written in her profile, I'll also swipe left, because women who put in zero effort into writing anything into their profile are very likely to put zero effort into actually spending any time on Instagram and responding to guys. Their investment is so low, they're likely to continue to provide low investment. So they're likely to be, even if you do match with them, they're going to be very frustrating matches. So I avoid them as well because they'll hurt my Tinder ranking and they'll frustrate me, and I don't like wasting my time. Another type of profile I avoid completely are profiles with just one photo. So I get this a lot with testing profiles. So I'm not the only cat on the block who creates testing profiles. That is, I'll create fake male or female profiles to try to get matches and see how people use Tinder. This is a hallmark of a fake profile, so I tend to use multiple photos these days, but I used to only use one, and testers still often use one. But more than that, it shows very low investment. If it is a real woman, so she's again likely to be frustrating, but often the one photo profiles tend to be used by scams of various descriptions. So when you get the one photo profile, just swipe left, ignore it. It's 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be worth your time. It's only going to hurt you. The next is going to be a little bit more psychologically difficult to identify, and that's when you have a profile and you get barely any matches, and all of a sudden you get this super hot woman matching with you. That is a sign that you probably should be swiping left. That's probably not a legitimate profile. Or if you're like myself, I'm a 37-year-old man, and you're matching, let's say you get barely any matches of women in your age group, and then you notice that you get a few 23-year-olds matching with you. If you can't even match with women your own age, the odds of 23-year-olds randomly wanting to meet with you are low, right? It's not to say that older guys can't get younger women. They certainly can, and they do. But if you're not getting women your own age at all, then you're unlikely to be getting younger women too. So when you get these kinds of things, you need to realize this doesn't add up. These women seem too exceptional, too fantastical. When you get those, you should definitely not trust them. In fact, when I'm on Tinder, if I see a profile that all the photos are too hot, I know I do quite well on Tinder, but when I get profiles like that, I generally swipe left because I'm generally pretty sure it's a fake. So I don't get too caught up with that stuff either. Another one that you should be avoiding, now I know most guys don't get caught out of this, but this wouldn't be a complete list without listing this kind of profile, is a woman who says, hey, I'm really just after casual, add me on Snapchat. I'm really just after casual, let's talk on Instagram. When you get an account like this, it is always a fake, never legitimate. Don't trust them. In fact, what I do is I report them to Tinder. Once I get to this point, I start getting into the reporting section, and I do. I report any profiles that I see that are almost certainly fakes, because, hey, I'm doing everyone a favor, and I think you should too. Since all of us are using Tinder regularly, why don't we just start actually doing something to get rid of the crap that's on there? Now, another thing you should be looking out for is distance. So if you get matched by a woman and her distance isn't showing, swipe left. I say that because you get a lot of scam female profiles and they're lazy, and so what they do is they just set their location to somewhere and they hide the distance so that guys don't realize how far away they are. Means they're a scam, or they're going to waste your time, or they're trying to practice their language. That's another thing that I notice happening on Tinder. Women join Tinder and who want to practice English. So what they do is they create an account, set themselves in a location that isn't their home city so that they can practice talking to guys in English or whatever language you generally speak or is in your area. So that happens quite often too. It's not a scam, but it's a time waster. So don't get caught up with that either. Now, finally, let's assume that you've done this, you've swiped left on all these kinds of profiles I've talked about, and you still have some other matches that seem a little iffy. Here are some of the red flags you should really notice really early on. First of all, if in the initial conversation with her, she calls you sir, right? And anything like this where the conversation starts to be, oh yes sir, ha ha ha, or her conversation doesn't really quite respond to what you're saying. So you're saying things and her response isn't congruent with what you're saying. So it's not like she's really having a conversation with you. So this is what chatbots are often like. When you get that, avoid it like the plague. If early conversation, she starts saying to you, let's go off Tinder really early on before you've even had much of a conversation, that's a red flag as well. And of course, like I said earlier, if she starts trying to get personal information from you, don't give it. You can give your phone number, but don't start giving anything else. You may think this is obvious, but once you're talking to a woman who you think is really cute and you're really invested in, guys can be very persuadable, and I don't want you to fall into that trap. So that's some of the things you should be avoiding. So those are the things you need to look out for. Now, I know in the beginning of the video, I did talk about my School of Online Dating students, and I do have an online program where I teach you how to create online dating profiles, not just Tinder, but online dating profiles in general, how to get fantastic photos, how to write a profile that's going to get her to want to match with you, how to flirt with her efficiently through text rather than just sort of fumbling around, struggling to get any kind of result. I also have a really fantastic forum where guys can essentially, you can jump into my Facebook group and you can post up pictures of your profile. You can post up conversations you've had on Tinder, on different online dating apps. And myself, the other coaches, and other more experienced students are going to jump in and give you feedback. It's an incredible resource that you can keep using on and on and on. But what's even better is that while we're still going through the coronavirus period, you can sign up for the program. If you sign up today and finish the course within 30 days, you can ask for your money back. This isn't like a satisfaction guarantee, like only get your money back if you're happy with it. If you're unhappy with it, no. Basically, if you finish the course in 30 days, I'll give you the option to have a full refund or a partial refund if you'd like to leave us some money on the table. I'm doing this because I know a lot of guys are struggling financially right now. It's a really tough period, and I want to give guys something to work on where they get to only pay what they can afford, and if they can't afford anything, they can do the whole program for free. So sign up now. This is only going to be available for, say, the next week after this video is made. So jump on board. I'll throw a link up here so you can get started straight away. For the rest, guys, let me know, is there anything that I've missed out? Are there any of these red flags that I should be spotting or should be telling my guys about that I haven't thought of? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you like my video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos, which I reckon you'll like as well. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in my future videos.